Hello and welcome to this video about pandas for data handling. We're excited to have you here, and in this video we're going to talk about pandas operations and techniques and teach you how to select rows from a data frame, or so-called list slicing. And this is selecting a subset of rows with names or index numbers from a data frame. And this is one of the more common data handling tasks within data science and machine learning, to work with subsets of data from a data frame. And in this video, you will learn a number of ways to select rows or slice rows from a data frame. Row and index number selections are roughly similar to column selections for data frames, but applies to data frame rows rather than columns. As Pandas data frame columns and rows are structurally designed to be different, row and index number selections use different functions for selections, and in this video we will take a look at the very useful and general locate function and the integer locate function. There are many possible options for selecting rows from a data frame, and we will look at the locate or the lock function, which locates rows by index label names, and the integer locate or the iloc function, which locates rows by the row's numerical indexes. Now it is time to type some row and index number selection code, so start up your code editors. All right, having started our Jupyter Labs notebooks, we will now make some row selections based on our now well-known car sales data frame. And as usual, we will begin by importing pandas as PD. We will create a car data dictionary, and we will use this dictionary to create a car sales data frame using the pandas constructor. We will rename the index, and we will rename the index labels. And these index labels we will use to a certain extent in this video lecture. So let's run this code, and we will print the car sales data frame to check that it loaded correctly. And here we can see that we have our car sales data frame in one piece. And we can begin to type a note. Remember the iloc and lock syntax model, which is data frame, but lock for locate, and row, comma, column. And this syntax model is interesting, and we will only use the first part of this two-stage model, and we will only do row selections in this video. And this syntax model actually splits every instruction into two parts. One for the column part and one for the row part. And this is important because it is very easy to confuse the code we write today for rows with the columns. So, all right, let's continue, and we will start by selecting a single row with the lock function. We type print car sales dot locate, and we can choose the row with index label 3. and we will print it to screen. And we can type that this code select row 3 because row 3 is the row identity. And this is important to understand because when we type this code and we use the locate function with the string 3, we look for the string 3, not the position 3 or the number 3, but the string 3. And this string is not related to other strings in the index column. And this is important to know and understand when you operate with the locate function. So let's run this code. And here we can see that we have printed our sales place 3. And here we could also check the data type of this if we wanted to, but I think this is a series. And we can try the same code for the iloc function. We can type the iloc function and its type of integer position selection is different. We type print car sales .iloc and we can start with the figure 3 and we can type does not select row 3 or row number 3 but 4. So let's run this code. And here we can see that we have selected row number 4. And we can change this code. We code which selects row number 3 with the iloc function. Like print car sales .iloc and let's run this code. And here we can see that this time we selected row 3. And here we can use locate function. We can extend it to 2 requirements. And we can type this code. Don't select all rows between 2 and 4, but all rows between labels 2 and 4. We type print car sales 2 and 4. So let's run this code. And here we can see that we have selected row labels 2, 3, and 4. And here we will make a note that in this case, the data frames labels are ordered after the label's corresponding number. In another case, the data frame could be sorted differently, yielding a different outcome of this operation. This function selects all rows between row number 3 and 4. We can print car sales, iLock, 2:4. So let's run this code. And here we can see that we have row number 3 and row number 4 selected. And if we, for example, want to select row number 2, 3, and 4, we can type (1:4). And we can type selects row number 2, 3, and 4. So let's run this code. And here we can see that we have selected row 2, 3, and 4. And now we look at some special row selections using iLock and lock functions. We can print 0 to 4. Row 0 to 4. We type print car sales, iLock, (4). So let's run this code. And here we can see that iLock returned all rows to number 4. And you can see this special notation here with nothing: (4). Everything until element 4. And the row numbers which this function corresponds to in this case is 0, 1, 2, 3. And we can print 5 to the last row number by simply reversing this instruction. So we type print car sales dot iLock And let's run this code. And here you can see that we printed row 5 and 6. And this corresponds to integer number 4 and 5. And if there are more integer numbers in our row index, this function will keep counting them until the last row number. So here we don't have any roof, but the data frame sets the roof of this function. And we can type 3 to the last. We type print car sales dot locate 3. And in this case, we will find index label 3. And we will print it. And we'll print every row label to the last. And of course, select them. So let's run this code. Where you can see row number 3, 4, 5, and 6 printed. And as we earlier said about this locate function, that this index label 3, if the data frame was sorted differently, this function would yield a different result. So this function will find the index label and its corresponding row and every row until the end of the data frame. And we can print 3 to the first, including the first row. We print car sales, locate, 3. So let's run this code. And here you can see that we have selected and printed row 1, 2, and 3. And we can print every other row or any other number if we want to. We can type print car sales iloc and this code will print row number 1, 3, and 5. So let's run this code. And we can respecify this to row number 3. And here you can see that it started on row 1 and added 3 for row 4. And as we only have 6 elements in our data frame, it has no 7th element to print. And we can use these selections backwards. We can print the rows backwards or return a structure, a series, or a data frame sorted backwards. We can print car sales iloc -1. and -1 in this case specifies backwards. So let's run this code. And here you can see that in this return data frame, we have row number 6 first and row number 1 last. Alright, in this video you have learned how to make row selections from a Pandas data frame with the locate and integer locate functions. In the next video we will teach you about Pandas data frame selections conditional on column or variable values. And we look forward to see you in the next video.